Quit your 9-to-5 job because, let's face it, you hate it. After working a 9-to-5 job for just 2 months, I quit and never looked back. No, but seriously, if you're like most people, you wake up each morning thinking, I need to go to work, or how many days until the weekend? And don't forget the dread you feel on Sundays, because guess what? The whole cycle starts over on Monday. Now, this is an extremely common dilemma. Extreme dislike for something that takes up a third of your life or more. And I mean, you're watching this video because you're trying to design your best life, and a crappy job is just not going to cut it. Now, if you like your job, stop watching this video. Or if you've never had the entrepreneurial itch of starting your own business, then yeah, click out of it. But if you don't like your job, or you've always wanted to do your own thing, I think you're gonna find this video extremely valuable. I know you will, because this is exactly how you can get out of the rat race, do something you actually enjoy, have time freedom, feel way more fulfilled, and just make a lot more money. And guys, if you want my free business blueprint, I'll have a link down below. It'll cover all the steps you need to actually start your own business today. So there's a big myth that it costs a lot of money to start a business. But in this video, I'll show you a proven way that actually works while costing you barely any upfront capital. This is absolutely false. So let's work backwards, because it's gonna help you understand how much money you need to survive without your job. So the first thing you're gonna ask yourself is, how much money do you currently make at your job? Write that number down, and let's say, for example, we're going with $60,000. At 40 hours per week, this means that you're making about $30 per hour. And that equates to about $240 per day that you're working. So 5 days per week. If you have lower or higher numbers than this, then it's gonna be a little bit different, but this is just the example that I'm gonna use. Now, to replace your current income, you're gonna need to be making this much money 5 days per week on average. So in this example, it's gonna be about $1,200 per week. So let's write that down, $1,200 per week. Just 4 different ways of looking at it. The next thing we're gonna do is figure out how much money we need to live. So essentially what you're gonna do is add up all of your recurring bills. So let's go ahead and do that here, bills. So it could be something like your rent, your mortgage, you're gonna have your food, your car, so transportation costs, gas, whatever, utilities. We're gonna add all that up and then add 15% just to be safe. Let's say we add this up and it equates to 2.5K per month. That's gonna be about $600 per week that we need to survive. I guess $625 to be more exact. So while you're doing all this brainstorming, you need to still be working. Please keep your job, keep that income coming in, because when you start a business, there's definitely some delay from actually working to seeing actual results. So I want you guys to decide what type of business you're gonna start while working, and actually start building that business while keeping your job. This is super important. So let's go over the 3 different types of businesses you need to be aware of. The first is the needle in a haystack business. In this case, there's basically one winner and a bunch of losers. These are usually your unicorn companies like Apple, Facebook, whatever. Think about all the number of social networks that tried to start. Yeah, like 99% of them failed. Second is your passive cash flow business. So this is gonna be something like a blog, a YouTube channel, a real estate portfolio, stuff like that. And third is gonna be your service-based business. This is exactly what it sounds like, doing some type of service for a client. This could be web design services, it could be photography, making videos for people, painting homes, cleaning cars, the list goes on. Now, the first thing we're gonna do is rule out the needle in a haystack business. I do not want you guys to focus on this type of business. I myself do not have any experience with this. I've never built a crazy big company like that. And I think for most people, that is not the way to get into entrepreneurship. The biggest reason why people quit their entrepreneurial journey is because they don't see results fast enough. And with those types of businesses, it's very likely that you won't see results for years. So that leaves us the other 2. And now what we're gonna do is basically compare the pros and cons of these 2 types of businesses. So we're gonna have SBB, service-based business, and we are going to have passive cash flow business. Let's draw a graph, and this is just gonna illustrate this whole point while talking about the pros and cons. Here we will have time, and here we will have results. So just say money. So starting with a passive cash flow business, this is basically what it's going to look like. It's gonna start off really slow. You probably won't see much results at all. And at some point, it's gonna go up like that, right? This is essentially 0. And then with the service-based business, it's gonna be something more like this, okay? Like that, it should be like that. And at some point, it can also go up like that. What you can immediately see is that the service-based business sees results way faster, right? We have this really steep incline at the start, whereas with the passive cash flow business, it takes a long time to build that. And while the passive cash flow business is amazing, don't get me wrong, it's just that for people with a 9-to-5, it's probably not the best thing to do, especially if you want to get out of your job as soon as possible. Let's also introduce your current income. So CI. Let's say that's something like this, right? Slowly goes up over time, and we'll mark that as 60K, for example. Now, the thing you want to ask yourself is, how long do you wait until you actually quit your job? For most people, if they don't like their job, they're going to want to quit as soon as possible, right? They don't want to be stuck in that job for that long. So this is basically that point where the service-based business income exceeds the current income from working your 9-to-5 job. This might not be to scale because it makes it seem like it's not that long, but this can be a month, it can be 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, it can be even longer. The main point is that this is just much, much faster than this time it takes for the passive cash flow business to exceed your current job. And if I come over here, there's going to be this little point right here where the passive cash flow business can actually exceed the service-based business income. You might be thinking this is probably capped out for the service-based business, but you can actually make it go up like that. And we'll talk about that later on in this video. So as you can see, the real winner right here is SBB, service-based business. This is what we're going to go after. This is the best type of business to start for beginners. And hopefully this illustration makes it quite clear. So now that we've settled on a service-based business, let's plan how we're actually going to strategically carry this out. So step number 1 is to pick 3 different skills and then settle on one of them. Easier said than done, but let's talk it out. I want to give you guys some inspiration because a lot of people, they get stuck at the spot. They're like, I don't know what things I can do, but chances are you already have a ton of skills in your tool belt. You just haven't really thought that they can be possible businesses. So we have photography, car washing, cleaning windows, web development, graphic design, being a handyman, consulting, tutoring, power washing, videography, the list goes on. The main thing is that whatever skill you choose, it needs to be a high value skill, HVS, that's what I call it. It needs to solve a big problem for people, and it needs to be something that most people do not know how to do. For example, a low to medium value skill would be something like babysitting. It's something that most people can do. It doesn't take that much technical expertise, and so that's why it's not an HVS. I will make one important note. The last thing you want to do is pick a low value skill that is very capped in how much money it can make you. Yes, you can still build a fantastic business doing it, but for me, I'd way rather pick a high value skill. It's just going to make the whole process a lot more rewarding and easy. And I will note, it should be something that you do enjoy doing. So once you pick that skill, the second step is to get really good at that skill. Now, please note that I said very good and not an expert. You do not need to be an expert at anything in order to charge for your services. You just need to be very good. Sometimes even good is good enough. Of course, how long this takes depends entirely on your starting level. It's going to depend on how fast you learn, as well as how much effort you put into it. This is something that I always tell people. It's to watch YouTube in the morning, aka learn, and then in the afternoon, that's when you actually apply it and do all the hands-on stuff. So take information into your brain in the morning and actually use your hands to do it in the afternoon. Step number 3 is to do this service or skill for at least 2 to 3 clients for free. Some people will say don't work for free, but in my opinion, it is totally okay to do this for free to build up your portfolio. Yes, it's going to be unfair because you're doing a service. Those people are going to, get something without actually spending any money. But what you do need to ask them for is a great testimonial. Testimonials and reviews, these can make or break a business, especially at the start. So if you can get 2 to 3 fantastic reviews or 2 to 3 different case studies with videos that you can post on your website, then this is going to be ideal. This is going to be a big game changer. For example, when I started photography, I did so many free shoots at the start. I built up my skills and then I started charging money. And that sort of takes us into step 4, which is to actually build your own website. Having a business website is so important for getting new clients. It's exactly how I've built all of my service-based businesses. And yeah, you need to show off your work. You need to show off your reviews, your case studies, have a place where people can actually see your info, contact you, book you, frequently ask questions, and things like that. So I'll say that by the time I made my first $1 million with entrepreneurship, I'd probably made at least 20 plus different websites. Now I'll say marketing is so important. This is a big mistake I made when I was starting out, and having your own website is a huge portion of your marketing. If you're watching this video, I have a fantastic deal for you through Hostinger. It's what I use to host almost all of my own business websites. And yeah, if you click on the link down below, it's going to be somewhere in the description. You'll be able to create up to 100 different websites with just one plan that is about $3 to $4 per month. And if you use code Charlie Chang at checkout, that's going to take an even bigger discount. And a really professional looking website is only going to take you a few minutes to make using their AI website builder. It's actually so easy. You don't need to know how to build websites. All you have to do is tell the AI what you want on your website. You can pick a template if you want to. It's going to generate a bunch of text and build out the foundation of your website. And you can go in, make some quick edits, put in your portfolio, and then bam, you have your own business website. This is seriously going to be the one place that most of your clients find you and actually book you from. So please do not skimp out on your website. And please take advantage of that deal because it's insanely affordable. Again, one Hostinger plan allows you to build up to 100 different websites. So if your first business doesn't work out or you want to start a second business or third or fourth, just use that one plan and create more websites. Okay, step number 5 is to advertise your services on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, and any other online places. To do this step, of course, you need to have your own website. This is seriously going to help your conversions a lot. And yeah, a lot of people, they are super surprised when I tell them to post on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, but this is actually where I've gotten a lot of my own clients. I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars just from clients on Craigslist and Facebook. And essentially the funnel is you post on those sites, you link to your website, they see your work, and then they contact you. If you're doing a service that is not super in person, then you can absolutely post on other sites like Fiverr or Upwork. That can be a great way to start getting your first clients. So step 6 is you want to charge your clients for great work. The great thing is that as you get more experience, as you get more reviews, your prices will go up. They should go up for sure. And don't worry, because like when I started tutoring, I was charging between $25 to $30 per hour. This is when I didn't have a portfolio, I didn't have any client reviews. And then at the end, I was charging between $50 and $60. So yeah, it's essentially doubled. And this was in 2015, by the way, so the rates right now would be quite a bit higher. Just know that this is the lowest you will ever make per hour with your service or skill. Every idea I said before, everything can be over $100 per hour. And let's say your goal is to reach $60,000 in annual revenue. At $100 per hour, you only need to work 600 hours in 1 year. So that's about 11.5 billable hours per week. Or if you're able to charge $250 per hour, which is extremely doable, it's basically what I was charging when I stopped freelancing. That means you only need to work 7.7 hours per week to make $100,000 in 1 year. Or let's say you charge $3,000 per event. For example, photographing a wedding, you only need to work 40 events per year to make $120,000. And so you see where the importance of having that HVS comes in. Because the more valuable that high value skill is, the easier it is to charge $250, even $500 an hour in many cases. Number 7 is service beats everything. So even if you're not the most skilled, you will have the best customer service. Customer service is something that you can't really teach, that personality, that how to talk to people and making people feel good, but you can absolutely learn the skills as you do the job. So that's why it's so important to prioritize the service, because how you leave people feeling at the end of the day, that's what's going to influence the reviews. That's what's going to influence how many people they tell about your services and ultimately the success of your business. So you're going through all these steps, building up your service-based business. And once you start making enough money, that is when you can quit your job. And yes, it's going to take incredible sacrifice while you're working both your job and building up your business. But I guarantee you at the end of the day, it's going to be so worth it. Now you can basically choose how much do you want to work. Many of these service-based businesses can also be completely remote. You can make your own schedule. You can take days off whenever you want. You can choose who to work with. There's no boss looming over your shoulder. And when done right, the hourly rate for your services, it's likely going to be way, way higher than your previous hourly rate. So yeah, just note, you guys, this is not a sexy business. It's very hard to start off sexy. There are some people that do it. It's a lot of luck. But for most people, like 95% plus of people, this is the blueprint you need to follow, because this will almost guarantee that you can leave your job. It has a very, very high chance of being successful. Now, if you want it to be sexy, there are many ways to do it with any service-based business. I'll go over this really quickly, but I did want the bulk of this video to be focused on actually getting started, because I think that's what's going to be most relatable for most people watching the video. But just know that with your business, even if it is a service-based business, it can absolutely grow. It can turn into an actual business. It can turn passive. It's just going to take more time and actually hiring a team of people, right? So think about it. If you can have your service-based business, but you have multiple service providers doing the work for you, then at some point, you're not going to have to be trading your time for money. You're just going to have to manage the people. You're going to have to build the systems to manage the people. And that's basically how every big business works. You'll find that likely many parts of your business can be outsourced to overseas. So you can hire admin support, project managers, graphic designers, web design, editing services, customer support. A lot of these roles can be hired overseas. That's just going to save you a ton of money. How do I know this? Because on my team of about 60 people, almost every single person is overseas. The key word here is leverage. You're hiring other people to do tasks for you so that you are not trading your time for money. Every very rich person has no idea how much money they are making per hour. So that's the end goal. That's not the goal right now when you're starting out, but just know that that is where you want to get to in the future. One thing I do want to note is that as you're building your first business, you are learning so many new skills. It is actually completely okay if your first business does not do that well. If it fizzles out, you can do a second one. You can do a third one. The great thing with these service-based businesses is that there is very little risk. There's essentially no money risk. It's just all your time and energy. So if you keep at it while working your job, at some point it is guaranteed that you'll be making enough money to quit. You just need to persist until that happens. Yeah, overall, starting a business, it's definitely something that a lot of people think is extremely risky. And that's mostly because they're thinking about the needle in the haystack business. They think you need to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars. They think most businesses fail, but that simply is not the case. You're just focusing on the wrong type of business. To get out of the rat race, you need to do something that takes less risk, that takes less money, and can guarantee you an out. Essentially, what I'm just trying to tell you guys is that you need to just risk your time and energy. You don't need to risk your finances. And I think that's the thing that's holding most people back when it comes to getting out of their job and then actually starting their own thing. So yeah, everyone that's watching this video, if you seriously don't like your job, you don't enjoy what you're doing, I really hope you can find a new job or position, or you can just, start doing this, build your own business, do your own thing using the steps in this video. And at some point, you will be able to quit your job. It's truly my biggest wish that everyone in the world that wants to work for themselves and do their own thing has the opportunity to do so. Because yeah, being an entrepreneur, building your own business, it's been one of the best things I have ever done for myself. I do want to remind you, we have a free business blueprint down below in the description. Starting a business can be pretty tricky. There are many things you need to set up, and I'll show you exactly what things you need to set up along with big discounts in that guide. And also, building a website is so easy and so affordable nowadays. So if you've been thinking about having your own website, definitely check out that link down below to Hostinger, and make sure to use code Charlie Chang at checkout. Website hosting is about $3 to $4 per month, and something that every aspiring entrepreneur needs to have. All right, so I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you got some valuable information from it. I know we covered a lot, so maybe go through again, take some notes. But yeah, the biggest message I want to leave you is to just go for it, take action. You only have one life, so it's really important that you design it and live the best life you can. And yeah, your work is a third of your life, so might as well make that something you get fulfillment from. I am way more happy doing the things I do today versus working my corporate job, and I hope you get to experience that as well. If you got any value from the video, make sure to give this video a like and also subscribe for more content just like this. I do a ton of videos about personal finance, entrepreneurship, and investing. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.